Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our coaching call of the day. Is it, what day is it? September 30th, 2019. Start out with our gratitudes. What would you like us to celebrate today?
I think it's our last day of summer here.
Oh, is it warm?
Yes.
Cute haircut.
Oh, thanks. Then the bottom's going to fall out.
The hair?
No, the temperature.
Oh, it's cooled off really fast for us. It's like already fall for sure. So, I wonder if is this going to go upside down for you guys if I turn this way? Let's see. Am I upside down to you?
Yeah. Sideways.
All right, I think I can only do sideways or this way. Okay. I have to hold it down. How are the babies doing, Karen?
My babies are great. The little one is 10.1 pounds and the other one is 11.1 pounds.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. They're growing so fast.
They are. They're grown like weeds and they're still adorable. I got to see them on Saturday and on yesterday, so I got to see them twice this week. So that's
nice.
I got to hold them and cuddle them, and that's just. And they're still small enough that they like to curl up into your shoulder and just kind of lay there. Yeah, it's good.
Do they always like to be real close to each other? Or?
When they're not being held, they do. They'll scoot each other over. They'll scoot themselves over so they can touch each other.
Oh.
This last week, they started talking to each other.
I've seen those internet videos where they do that. So adorable. How's everyone else doing? Check in. Tell me how your week's been.
I'm doing fine. My week's been busy. It's still summer here for sure. We're in the high 90s.
Oh my God.
So
54 degrees here in Seattle right now.
Oh wow.
It cooled off real quick.
We're 83.
Penny, I didn't hear, but she's muted on video, so I'm not sure. I know she's heading back down south, so. All right. Well, Karma's not here. We did a mock session with, or it wasn't really mock, it was a real session with Cindy and Carmen last week. So I don't have any new member for us to talk about. Anyone have any updates on current clients? Or I think I mentioned last week that Candace was going to stay on, so she's paid for the alumni. So Candace is going to be staying with us another year. And yeah, so maybe you want to check in, Cindy, about last week. We have the recording on here. I wish Carmen was here so we could check in how it was for her. So Cindy did a coaching session with Carmen. She was feeling frustrated and stuck and wanted to get her weight loss going again. And the one thing she identified was that she wasn't tracking. And so that was the one thing she'd agreed to do. So how was that whole process for you, Cindy?
It went fine. It was kind of weird in the sense that that's the one thing she suggested, but she didn't really want to do it. So yeah. I did think about this week, just wondering if she did or not.
Yeah.
Or she just didn't think it would help. That's, I think, what she thought. But yet it was her idea, so we stuck with it in terms of that being the thing.
You're right. It was interesting because it was, she was saying that, well, I'm just eating the same size food, so it shouldn't help, it shouldn't matter. And yeah, so it might have been a point of helping her see the value in that, or then also seeing if maybe there was something else that she felt like would be more important to do. But yeah, I'll have to send her a message in the group and see.
And then I have not had anybody schedule any laser coaching. Has anybody?
No, because the email hasn't gone out. Leticia went in the hospital this weekend, and apparently she had something happen where she blacked out and hit her head last week.
Oh my.
And, yeah, and then waited, and then over the weekend finally went into the hospital for it. So that hasn't. Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, because we've got an email we were sending out. She drafted it and it didn't get sent yet. I'm trying to remember. There was one more little piece that needed to get fixed. Oh yeah, because the email she drafted up was just like one link to coaching, but I needed to actually go in and set something else up. So there was like one more piece that was like, oh, and that needs to be done too. So, but I think all the ducks in a row this week. We'll see. Because every time I try to send something out about it, and I'm like, oh, and that's right. Now one more thing. So,
I was going to ask you how it was meeting your brother, but is that off topic?
no, not at all. It was yeah, I didn't get it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I grew up knowing that for almost 50 years, knowing that he was out there somewhere, and finding my sister 2.5 years ago too was like, well, are we ever gonna find him? My mom worried that maybe he was dead or didn't know, and it turns out that they all live within really not that far of each other. He lives in Vancouver, Washington. The sister lives in Portland, and my mom lives maybe an hour north of there, and so it was he's a super nice guy, and he's married, doesn't have any kids of his own, but has been the caretaker of his wife's 4 kids she's got, and yeah, I don't even, it's kind of weird to process the whole thing. I stayed with my mom overnight, and we just talked about it, and yeah, apparently he's just already really appreciative to have her, and sent her a text saying thank you so much for everything, and I love you, and yeah, so
Wow.
family just keeps expanding. Yeah.
So that was on our last call that she found her brother on the call. I mean, during it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking.
Yeah, while you guys were doing your coaching practice, I popped up my email, and he'd sent me an email over the weekend through the Ancestry DNA, and I didn't check my email on Sunday, and yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh, no, like, because it was like, I gotta go call my mom. Thanks, you guys are doing great. Bye. Oh no, she's been searching for him her whole life. She gave him up for adoption before me, and that was back when women didn't have any, if you were an unwed mother, you were pregnant, you were a disgrace to your family. So there was this whole institution that they would send them off to be born, in a hospital somewhere. They would send them off at 6 months pregnant and make them work there. And then she actually told the story, part of the story I'd never heard before on Friday too, was that when she went in labor, so she was 15 when she had him. She went into labor, and they just sent her in a room by herself. She like went through labor all by herself. And then after having the baby, so she stayed there 10 days after the baby's born, and she said they had 3 choices. One was to room in with them for 10 days. Another one was just to have no contact at all, and then the third one was to go and spend an hour with the baby every day. So she went and spent an hour with him every day, and she said that she said, you were a beautiful baby. Apparently the nurses nicknamed him Merle, because back then, like, Merle Haggerty was known to be like one of the most handsome men or something like that, so they nicknamed him Merle. And yeah, so that was the tear jerker of her telling the story, and she told him how sorry she was that she had to give him up and everything, and yeah, quite emotional. And then we're gonna have another get together next month too, for my other sister to meet him, and so 2 of us got to meet him, 2 sisters and my mom. Yeah. So yeah, crazy world with all this DNA stuff we can do now. So
Wow.
yeah. Well, anyone want to do another practice session today? Who's up for? Who feels like they could use a? I might pick on Karen. Would you like to do a practice coaching? Be the
Sure.
coach.
Sure.
Who has something that they're stuck or would like some coaching with? Who would like to volunteer for Karen's help?
See, I told you I couldn't do it. Nobody wants my help.
Like Penny's on, her video's not on and she's muted, so I don't know if she can hear or not. But Sharon or Cindy, either of you have something you're stuck on? And it could even be like, it doesn't even have to be keto related too. So
Not really.
you want to pick something to pretend, Sharon?
Sure, do you have anything?
A common thing that people are stuck on? Anybody have ideas of a big one update though? Juniki finally came on a coaching call last week because she was one that had been emailing me about how she couldn't get started, couldn't get on plan, and she finally, I listed off about 6 different things she could do because she's like, I don't know what to do. How can I get motivated to actually do this? And so I said, well, one of the things I suggested was coming on the coaching calls, and and so she came last week, and then she shared at the end of it how helpful it was for her. She says, oh my gosh, this was so great, and just hearing everyone else is really motivating for me, and so now she's registered for another one. So I'm really glad that worked too. So let's see. So what are our top? What are some common ones that people are stuck with? Last time we did one where the lady was saying how she just couldn't make time to get on the coaching calls. Last week it was tracking. What about Sharon? How about if you say you're having trouble getting your carbs below 20?
Okay. So, Karen.
Well, Karen's your coach.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like Karen, start out.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Karen.
Is there anything you'd like to focus on today?
Yeah, I actually did pretty good at tracking last week. However, my macros are just like, they're way off. I have enough fat, I think, but my carbs are just still too high. So I'm not losing. I'm a little bit hungry. I just, there's stuff in the house because of my family, and I just can't stay out of it. I don't know what to do. I wish I could say I just couldn't buy the stuff and it wouldn't be around me. That would be easier, but with all these growing teenagers in the house, they want their junk food, and I can't talk them out of it. I'm trying to be a good example, but have you had that situation?
I just went brain dead here. Yeah. Is there anything that's been going on in your life that's making you crave the carbs more?
That's a good question. Work's been really busy. And of course, with school starting and all that stuff, like our family life is just kind of crazy right now.
Do you think you are worth the time and effort to put into your planning of meals and snacks that could help you?
Oh, I just don't know where I'd find the time to do that.
Are you worth it?
I'm definitely worth it. Sure. That doesn't make finding the time any easier.
Is there any time that you would have that you could schedule a few minutes here or there?
I'd have to think about that.
Can you think of anything that might help?
I've dug myself into a story that I don't have all the answers to. It's not my life. Let's see. Maybe Sunday morning when I get home from church.
Is that something you're willing to do? Willing to commit to?
Yeah, I'd have to work with my family, but yeah, I could go into my office and get away from everything else that's happening in the house. And how long do you think it would take? Like half an hour?
Depends on how long you want it to take. How detailed and which you should get. Just enough time to let you process it, work through your menus, and process what you're doing.
I've never been able to plan a menu like that.
Have you used the pre-planned menus that's on the website?
Yeah, for myself, I can do that. Like the week one stuff and just, yeah, I could go through there. I'm a little bit of a picky eater, but I could find some things that work.
Would you be able to get your family to eat those things?
I mean, like if I'm having burgers and stuff, they could have burgers. They'd have other things though. They'd want potato salad and other carby stuff that'll be out. So that's just hard for me to stay out of.
Have you researched any faux potato salads or things like that?
No, not really.
It might be something. You think you would do that? I mean, you think that would be a good idea?
Yeah, I like the idea of Carole's, 5 minutes in the kitchen thing because since I have to prepare their meals, being able to do mine really fast is helpful. So I don't know if I want to get into more recipes and cooking right now. But yeah, I think I just need to, I don't know what I need to do. I liked your idea of, am I worth it? So maybe I just need to meditate on that more or something, where I can bypass the stuff that's out there.
Is there something that's changed since you've written down your whys? Have you reviewed your whys?
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Not in a few weeks, so maybe I should do that. Yeah, no, nothing has changed. I've just sort of slowly slid back into old habits, I think.
Going through your whys, add new whys if you need to.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Are you willing to commit to doing your food schedule, your menus on Sunday?
Yes.
Is there a particular time that you would?
Yeah, it'll be right after I get home from church.
Okay. So what time does that look like?
9:15.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Is there something you can specifically tie that to?
Well, yeah, getting home from church.
Uh,
Yeah, I'll just do that before we kind of start our day. So, um, yeah, and while I have my sheets out to do that, to pick from the menus, I'll look at what I wrote down for my whys and see if I can add anything to that. And then I'll see if that kind of reinvigorates my resolve. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
do you want to check in after you've done that? Do you want to check in and,
That would be great.
okay. When would you like to check in?
Well, why don't we do this again in a week and see
Okay.
how it went?
Okay, that sounds good. You can do this. I have faith in you.
Oh, thank you.
Confident you can do this.
All right, I'll let you know.
Okay. That was a mess.
Oh, that was great. But it came out. So, Karen, how did that feel from your side?
I didn't think it went well. There were too many suggestions and not enough questions.
Mm. What do you think would help you ask more questions rather than suggestions?
Right at the moment, I have no idea. I just sort of went brain dead. There was no laser involved in the coaching. I don't know. I just sort of, yeah, didn't make it that time.
And it still worked though. I think you had the essence of it was there, and each of you are going to make this your own anyway. So you have to be authentically you when you're doing this. So
Oh, that's a good point, Carol.
yeah.
Plus, I think when the person's being kind of vague, it's sort of hard not to, I mean, to me, you were asking questions trying to pin her down.
Get me to talk.
You know,
Yeah.
but she's being kind of just vague. And so I thought you asking those specific things helped, you know, focus it a little, you know.
Okay.
How did it feel for you, Sharon?
Like I said, I was making up a story and I got in too deep. So yeah, but I can imagine there will be some people that are maybe not so introspective that they might not know answers, so they might be vague like that, because those are good questions to ask, because people may not have thought of them for themselves. Like I thought the what changed was a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
Because people, if things change kind of slowly or in the middle of other things, you might not notice that change until you stop and think about it. And in our busy lives, we may not stop and think. So that was a good, like, stop and think about this and see what's different. And then I like the going back to the whys, because same thing. Like, you're like, well, did your whys change? And then, you know, people might not go back to their whys. And so that's a really good suggestion, because then you could go back and be like, oh no, my whys didn't change. What, you know, let me get back on that. So I think that's a really good kind of reboot, is to go back to your whys. So I thought that was helpful, Karen.
Yeah, I thought it was really great too, because you kind of pointed out basically that, like, you wanted to do this at one point. What is it that kind of changed? You know,
Right.
your whys are the same, and what else changed then? And it was a way of directing her to that without actually saying it. So
Yeah, that was good.
I was at my pulmonologist this week. Actually, for my husband, they thought he had COPD. My pulmonologist says, no, you have asthma. But anyway, we were talking about keto because he's the one that suggested my keto. And he said that we were talking about it. He said he has a patient who needs a lung transplant. He's Italian and said he cannot give up pasta. So he cannot lose enough weight to have the lung transplant surgery because he cannot give up pasta. And I thought that's really sad.
Yeah.
He is so addicted to that it, it could cost him his life.
It's going to. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Sooner
awesome.
rather than later.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
How are you feeling about how it went now, Karen? Hearing
I
the
feel
other side?
better.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was asking way too many questions rather than leading her to think about it and give suggestions. I guess that was more questions than suggestions.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good, Karen, because I mean, every call, even though we have this template, every call is going to have its own personality and every person we work with. So I was sort of, not purposefully, but just playing the role of the person that's hadn't really thought about it, just threw out this struggle, kind of vague on what was going on. But I think not everybody's going to follow the script. So sometimes when we're playing the part, even when we're using our own examples, I think maybe we're like too good of a client because we're willing to throw out those suggestions for ourselves, and we're willing to be coached, and hopefully with this being voluntary, like people signing up for it, people paying for it, that they will be open for coaching. But it'll be interesting to see, right?
Yeah.
On how willing people are to be coached. I mean, I've got this guy at work, and I play a lot of this stuff through my head in the scope of both this and work. And I've got this guy at work, and his mouth says, yes, I want feedback. Yes, I want, and then he doesn't. He really doesn't. I mean, he wants it, but he won't do anything with it. So he's very much a challenge, and he knows I've gone through this. He knows I've read the book. He knows I've been trained. And I said, hey, I am willing to work with you. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then we talk through stuff, and it doesn't take. So there are challenging people out there. It'll be interesting to see what we get.
Yeah. And so far, everyone that I've worked with privately through this has been, very open and willing because they've
Good.
they paid for it. But also, I know some of the people that we currently have that are, going to try the laser coaching. They may have more stuckness, So like Tricia Hoffman, for example, is one that's, oh yeah, I'll do it, but she might be, like we think, one of those that feels a little more challenging. But so I think the questions you're asking were perfect. Of just kind of you're trying to peel back the layers of the onion and find the center of it. Anything else about that?
There was a part of me that kind of wanted to say something like, would you rather get your carbs low or eat your kids' food? I mean, like, because that was the thing. She kept saying just like, well, this food's here and I can't stay out of it. Would that be too direct?
I think it's fine. I mean, like we talked about here earlier, it's you each are going to find your own style, and if that's what's coming up for you, a lot of times that intuition, those questions that we want to ask, are the best ones to ask. And you can even preface it. You're going to know the person's personality a little bit working with them, and you might say something like, "Well, I don't know if this sounds harsh or not, but this is what I'm wondering." I mean it with love and sincerity and helping you change. And
because she was resisting all the ideas for how not to have that food there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know.
No, I think that's good. Lots of different options. Yeah. You want to do one more? We got time for one more? Role reversal on that one, or we're Sharon coach and Karen coachee? Or Cindy, do you want to get in this one?
Whatever, it doesn't, whatever y'all want to do.
I think we're all sleeping today.
You want to be coach, Sharon?
Sure.
Who would like to volunteer to be the coachee? The coachette?
Huh.
Oh, so we need a scenario.
Yeah.
Karen, do you have a scenario?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Usually it's my own scenario, but I'm doing fine. So
That's really good to hear.
What about how about something about they're the point where they're ready to so they're not losing, and so you're going to explore like where some extra fat maybe is that they could cut back, and then maybe we discover that they're putting a lot of cream and butter in their coffee. They're having lots of bulletproof coffee during the day. Who wants to do that one?
As the client, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I can do that one because that's what I do.
Okay.
I mean,
Perfect. Okay.
okay, so
Hi, Cindy. How are you?
hi, I'm good. I'm doing well. Doing well.
Excellent. Excellent. Staying cool?
No,
No.
we're not cool here.
So how's
So
your week?
my week's been good. I still have the same struggle. I would like to lose my last pounds, and
Okay.
my body doesn't want to. And meanwhile, the rest of me likes to have my cream in my coffee. And I've listened to Carole, and she suggested 2 tablespoons a day. So
Okay.
I got a tiny little pitcher, and I put my cream in the tiny little pitcher. But then I just go ahead and, like, if my husband has some left over, I have his, and whoever else might leave any cream around. And
Okay.
then,
So you're getting more than the 2 tablespoons?
well, some days, yes.
Okay. And the scale's not budging?
No.
How's the rest of your meals?
They're good. I just eat twice a day.
Oh, okay.
And so I do realize also that I'm kind of sabotaging that, in that the meal I skip is breakfast,
Sure.
but I'm enjoying my cream. So in other words, breaking my fast a little early there every day.
Oh, sure.
But black coffee just tastes like sadness, and
You got me all choked up on that one. I hear you. I'm not a super big fan of that either. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I've gone down the same path as you. I did personally. I was able to get rid of the butter and the MCT oil, and still, but switch to cream. Gosh,
So so you limit your cream?
I do. But I sort of have the same thoughts as you're having. Let's see. Shoot, I'm where Karen was. I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to figure out what questions to ask. Let's see.
I'll tell you a little more. What further sabotages me on that is when I do really well, manage it, keep it to 2 tablespoons. I don't see the scale responding. So then I'm like, I can be stuck.
Yes,
and
I'm enjoying my coffee.
Uh-huh.
I hear you. I think it's a longer term game than probably you're playing. How long have you been able to stick with the limit and still not see the scale move?
Well, I haven't seen the scale move in a while.
Yeah,
but
that is
tried
really
to manage the cream. Yeah. And then I've noticed a couple other things, to be real honest, like
sure.
I go to Starbucks and ask for a coffee with that heavy cream. And I watched the guy the other day, he poured forever.
Oh man.
Like, gosh, no wonder. So I've also tried to limit that. Like I don't get coffee out.
Oh, sure. That's a really good strategy. Luckily I haven't had coffee out in ages. What else could you do to limit, if the answer was just to keep the limit to 2 tablespoons, what could you do to help yourself keep that limit? Could you have your husband drink all his or pour out the drain?
Yeah, I could get that out of the way. So that's one thing I haven't done.
Yeah.
Could do. I think it's just, it's that self-discipline piece of like really back to the last scenario. Do I want to move the scale more than I want the cream?
Yeah. Have you tried any other beverages in the morning? Or do you have to have your coffee?
Oh, yeah, I pretty much have to have a coffee in my mind. Yeah, like if I had hot tea or something, yeah.
I don't know how you're drinking hot drinks in 90-degree heat, Cindy.
Yeah. but I guess I could try black. I've done that with myself too, a little bit of your first cup can be good and then you need to like start having black.
Okay. Yeah, and what about a little, I don't know, sometimes does it make sense to maybe do kind of a reboot where you do that with your black coffee, and then maybe just play a game with yourself on how long can you go with black coffee, or can you change your palate to like black coffee, things like that. Like I think it was when I was on vacation, I didn't have access to good heavy cream, and so I just lived with and it was either like, well, black coffee or nothing. And so I chose the black coffee. And then when I got home, it was a little bit different when I went back to the cream. Do you have any other ideas of sort of a reset that you could do?
I like that idea of a reboot, and I like the idea of playing games with myself because I'm good at that. So
do you like, what about rewarding yourself just with like a star in your planner on the days that you did less than 2 or something like that? How many stars you can get in the month?
Yeah, it actually works for me. Yeah. I mean, honestly.
Me too. Me too.
And it's just so strange when you have a thing like that you know what it is, and it's only yourself.
It's exciting when you get that string of successes in a row. You're just like, I'm so proud of me. So that's great. Anything else where you feel like you're getting extra fat?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
The other thing you could do is maybe either re-listen to or reread some of the reasons why you don't want too much fat, and and maybe re-listen to some of the intermittent fasting things that say what breaks a fast and all the good things that fasting can do for you. Sometimes the refresher course kind of thing is
true.
helpful. What kind of resources have you used to convince yourself that like the restricted time feeding is good and things like that? Have you read books or listened to podcasts or just Carole's materials?
Actually, all of the above.
Okay.
And I'm just used to it. I'm not hungry in the morning now, and
Oh, good.
just my pattern.
So the cream is more just a preference, and it's not because you're hungry or it doesn't. If you drink black coffee, does your hunger stay the same?
I wouldn't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have felt like I don't think it triggers my hunger.
Okay.
Because I'm really usually fine till about noon or 1.
Oh, that's great.
Before I eat.
Okay.
So it sounds like what we're saying I could do is go back to my tiny pitcher, put away my husband's cream when he's done.
Mm-hmm.
When it's gone, it's gone.
There you go.
And I get a star.
Yeah, let's try that.
I kind of like that. I think I could try that.
Excellent. All right. And why don't you try that for a week or 10 days and then let me know when you want to have another call?
After I get 7 stars, I will. Okay.
There you go. Excellent.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That was fun. Sharon, how was that for you?
It was good. I had the same thoughts as Karen had, was like that I started suggesting too much and not asking enough questions. So before I actually get on a real call, I think I'll go back and reread some of the stuff about questions, leading questions.
Yeah, and I think, but like we've hit on, like your intuition and the questions you asked were perfect, right? The fact you asked, like, how about a star? And she's like, that's exactly what works for me. Like you intuitively knew like the right things to kind of ask and suggest. So
sure.
Cool. How was it for you, Cindy?
Well, I was going to say, I really kind of, strangely enough, needed if I had been able to figure it out, I would have. So it kind of helped to have somebody essentially say, you're really going to have to do 2 tablespoons. I mean, like, stop.
Yeah.
And then have a little reward system.
Yeah.
And it also felt good just to know I only have to do that for 7 days before I report in.
And it's great that we found something that actually will help you even when you didn't think you had something to work on. So
Right.
So Carole, not to derail Cindy's effort here, but do you think that's what's holding her back?
It could be. We'd have to look at her chronometer and see too, but I think that's a good place to start, because that's what well, I guess that's kind of what we made up that the idea would be, but then she did feel like that's something I mean, I could get the sense that she's kind of beating herself up a little bit about like, I really want to stick to 2 tablespoons, but I'm not, and here's all the reasons why. And so I think ultimately it'll end up helping her anyways. So.
Oh, sure. I was just wondering off the coaching, but since she did say that the scale hasn't moved in a while, that what else that as a team we could do to help with that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of and that's one of the things I'm working on for you guys is a coaching triage thing of things for, not losing weight, what should we look at? So one of the ones that's working really well is increasing protein by like 20 to 30 grams in a day. And then just dialing back a little bit on the fat. So, maybe exploring with her, not maybe, but definitely exploring with her. Are you still adding fat to a meal? Could you cut that back at all? Choosing leaner cuts of protein as well, and increase the protein. Those would be all the areas that would be the next step in this. So if somebody, for example, they're following all the 10 rules for phase 1, and there's, the scale is still not moving, and they've been there for 2-3 weeks, and I know for Cindy it's been longer than that, but that's
I was gonna say only 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, this is, most of the people are working with remember that.
I wish.
Then, then if they're absolutely doing all that and they're keeping the carbs low and then it's dialing back the added fat to the meals would be one of the first steps. And you can also then at that time too increase the protein as well. And then, but also it could be two. So she's already at 2 meals. But for example, if somebody's doing, 3 meals and a snack, cutting back the snacks and then working towards 2 meals as well might be another area to look at. But for Cindy at 2 meals, I wouldn't suggest cutting back. However, sometimes doing a once a week, a 24-hour fast, just 1 meal, a dinner to dinner also can make some progress for people too. So now that I'm talking it through out loud, there's various levers, right? So increasing protein, decreasing fat, decreasing the number of meals that you're eating.
That's good.
Those are kind of the 3 ones. And so that'll be kind of a checkpoint for you guys. If they're doing this, then the next thing to kind of explore is this. And then, with the 3 choices of fewer meals, more protein, less fat, then you can kind of throw those out and let them, which of these sounds most interesting to you or would you be willing to do?
It's good. Thank you. That was
pull up their chronometer and kind of look at what their average protein has been as well. So, if they've only been at like 65, then encourage them to get up to like 20, I would say 20 grams more to start with as a goal in a day. Because the thing about increasing protein is actually protein's very energy intensive to digest. And so it actually revs up the metabolism by increasing protein. So it helps basically burn more calories by eating more protein. The other one, Cindy, I don't know if you've considered this or not too, is doing like the gelatin blended into coffee.
I do that.
Okay.
I do what you do.
And Robin's doing a full scoop in a cup of coffee, whereas I only do like maybe a tablespoon. She says if you do a full scoop in a cup of coffee and blend it, it's really thick and creamy. So I don't know if more gelatin or collagen might give more of that creamy mouthfeel. I haven't tried that much myself, but.
Okay.
That's interesting.
All right. Well, anything else before we wrap this up?
Nope, I got people looking for me, so I gotta run.
You guys did great today. That was good. We did 2 practice sessions. We were so productive today.
We are. Thank you all.
I will get things. So if all goes well, no more derails this week. It was funny because last week, you guys, on Monday morning, I woke up and I'm like, this is going to be such a productive week. I'm going to get all these things taken care of that I've needed to do. And then it was like the brother thing came up and I don't know. It's like that, so much emotional stuff and it just so much to process and a whole bunch of other things lately as well too. So where it's like, oh, okay, nope, that week went by again with a blink. And so I'm feeling optimistic again today. It seems like we're power through productivity week. So, well, thank you all. Good.
Thank you.
Let's lightning bolt round it up real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Penny,
my lightning bolt was that we have this formula, but I think it's gonna be unique per call, per client, and the formula is just there as a structure, but that we shouldn't worry if it just doesn't go exactly as we planned before the call started, and that you have to just kind of morph and move with how the call is going, but keep to your points so that, obviously you don't want to extend it out past the time and you want to go away with solid things for the client to do. So we need to stick to that part, but the middle part can kind of change as we go and adapt.
It's good. My takeaway is 2 tablespoons.
Go, Cindy.
And a star.
Just for that, I'll measure mine this week too, Cindy.
Okay. We'll both get,
I've been just glugging because I don't have a cute little picture.
yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
I like the calendar and the star because I've had so much trouble getting back on it. And if I can put stars on there and see my progress, it won't be like, oh, I can do this today. And then I can see my progress and just keep going. So I'm going to print up some calendars and some stars.
Oh, stars for everyone. You all get a gold star for today for this call then.
Yeah, all the habit trackers have you mark it so that you can actually, I don't think I have one with me, but they all have you just mark down so that you can get runs going and you can sort of look back and be proud of your progress and things like that. So it works for a lot of people, the visual pat on the back, if you will.
Yeah. Well, good work today, ladies. Have a wonderful week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah.